Take a moment and count how many zippers you're wearing right now. One on your pants, maybe another on your jacket. That simple device you just touched has changed the world. But chances are you've never heard of the forgotten genius who created it. A man who spent his life savings, sacrificed his health, and died before seeing his invention transform society. This is the story of Whitcomb Judson, and how his persistence created one of the most ubiquitous inventions in human history. In the bustling streets of Chicago in 1846, Whitcomb L. Judson was born into a world on the cusp of massive change. The Industrial Revolution was transforming America from a rural society into a manufacturing powerhouse. And young Whitcomb dreamed of being part of this new age of invention. But, unlike many successful inventors of his era, Judson didn't have the advantage of wealth or connections. He was a mechanical mind in a working-class family, spending his early years learning the practical skills that would later prove crucial to his innovation. As a young man, Judson worked as a traveling salesman, crisscrossing the Midwest by train. These long journeys gave him plenty of time to observe the world around him and the problems that needed solving. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. By his early 30s, Judson was struggling with severe back pain, a condition that would shape his future invention in ways he couldn't imagine. But before he ever thought about creating the zipper, Judson tried his hand at numerous other inventions. He created a new type of streetcar motor, a band cutter for hay bales, and even an automated street railway system. While these inventions showed promise, none of them brought the success he desperately sought. Yet each failure taught him valuable lessons about mechanics, patents, and the brutal world of invention. Judson's greatest challenge began with his own physical pain. His back condition made simple tasks like bending down to button his boots excruciating. In an age where high-button boots were standard fashion, this daily struggle sparked an idea that would eventually change the world. But the path from idea to invention was anything but straight. Financial obstacles loomed large. Every patent application cost money he barely had. His wife and children lived modestly while he poured their savings into prototype after prototype. The technical challenges were equally daunting. Creating a reliable mechanical closure system that wouldn't jam or break required countless iterations. And when he finally created something workable, he faced an even bigger hurdle, convincing anyone to take it seriously. The late 1800s were the golden age of invention, but also of skepticism. Snake oil salesmen and fraudulent patents were everywhere. When Judson first presented his Clasp Locker, the precursor to the modern zipper, potential investors saw it as just another gimmick. Department stores weren't interested. Clothing manufacturers couldn't see the potential. Even his own business partners were skeptical about its commercial viability. But perhaps the most frustrating challenge was the mechanical reliability of his early designs. The first versions were clunky, prone to jamming, and often broke after minimal use. Each failure meant going back to the drawing board, spending more money he didn't have, and facing increased ridicule from skeptics who said it couldn't be done. In 1891, Judson finally had his breakthrough. After countless prototypes, he developed what he called the Clasp Locker, a complex arrangement of hooks and eyes, with a slide mechanism that could open or close the device with one smooth motion. The design was far from the sleek zippers we know today, but it was revolutionary for its time. On August 29, 1893, he received patent number 504,038 for his creation. The timing seemed perfect. The 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago was approaching, a showcase of human innovation that would attract millions of visitors. Judson and his business partners formed the Universal Fastener Company and prepared to debut their invention to the world. The exhibition would be their moment to shine, to show everyone the future of fastening technology. But the World's Fair debut was far from the triumph they hoped for. While curious onlookers gathered to watch demonstrations, few saw the practical applications. The device was complicated, expensive to produce, and still prone to failures. Many dismissed it as a novelty. Interesting, but not practical for everyday use. Undeterred, Judson continued refining his invention. He filed additional patents, each one improving on the last. The original hook-and-eye system evolved into something closer to what we know today. He experimented with different materials, different mechanisms, always seeking that perfect combination of reliability and ease of use. In 1904, he hired a brilliant young Swedish-American engineer named Gideon Sundback. This would prove to be a crucial decision, though Judson wouldn't live to see its full impact. Sundback's technical expertise would later lead to the development of the modern separable fastener, what we now know as the zipper. But that was still years away, and Judson's health was failing. While Judson's invention would eventually transform the world, he never witnessed its success. His final years were marked by declining health and mounting frustrations. The Universal Fastener Company struggled to turn a profit, and many of his original investors abandoned the project. Department stores still weren't interested, and the clothing industry remained skeptical. By 1909, Judson was forced to step back from daily operations due to his deteriorating health. He watched from the sidelines as others took control of his company and his invention. Gideon Sundback's improvements to the design were making it more reliable, but widespread adoption still seemed like a distant dream. Judson passed away in 1909, never knowing that his creation would become one of the most frequently used devices in human history. At the time of his death, his invention was still viewed as a quirky novelty. The name zipper hadn't even been coined yet. That would come in 1923. When B.F. Goodrich Company used the term for their rubber boots, featuring Sundback's improved version of Judson's design. The ultimate tragedy is that Judson died believing he had failed. His obituary barely mentioned his invention, focusing instead on his earlier work with railway systems. The local newspaper described him simply as a retired inventor, with no hint of the revolutionary impact his creation would have on the world. Today, over 80 billion zippers are manufactured annually. They're in our clothes, our bags, our homes, virtually everywhere. The modern fashion industry, as we know it, wouldn't exist without Judson's invention. Quick change costume designs in theater and film. Impossible without zippers. Spacesuits. They rely on airtight zippers. This simple device has become so ubiquitous that we barely notice it anymore. But Whitcomb Judson's legacy goes beyond just the physical invention. His story is a testament to the power of perseverance in the face of skepticism and failure. He saw a problem, something as simple as the difficulty of fastening boots, and spent years of his life trying to solve it, despite ridicule and financial hardship. Perhaps the most powerful part of Judson's legacy is how it reminds us that world-changing innovations don't always arrive in a flash of genius or come from famous inventors. Sometimes they come from ordinary people who refuse to give up on an idea, even when the rest of the world can't see its potential. Next time you zip up your jacket or close your backpack, remember Whitcomb Judson. Remember the man who never saw his invention transform the world, but whose persistence and innovation changed how we dress, how we design, and how we live our daily lives. In a world that's always chasing the next big thing, sometimes it's worth looking back at the forgotten geniuses who built the foundations of our modern life. If you've enjoyed discovering this forgotten genius, make sure to follow our channel for more untold stories of the inventors who shaped our world. And let us know in the comments, what everyday invention would you like to learn the hidden history behind next?